To the United States now, where more than 30 people have been killed by a powerful storm system that spawned dozens of tornadoes. The deaths occurred in 6 central and southern states, where tornadoes ripped apart houses and schools. Blowing dust also caused fatal highway accidents. The onslaught of violent weather caught many people in the region by surprise.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Tad Peters and his dad Richard were fueling their truck in Rolla, Missouri when the winds started swirling.
Oh my God. We are in a tornado.
Rolling up the window as the debris flew by. Both of them made it out okay. But 160 kilometers away in Wayne County, Missouri, it's a different scene. Homes ripped apart. Lives ended.
There was a deceased woman over here in the campground that's right here.
Resident Dakota Henderson says he found 5 bodies near his aunt's home.
She was trapped in that bedroom, only room standing left of this house. She was trapped in it. We got her out the window, got her up to the Earth home that's up the road. And we were helping other people. We found a few bodies that was out in the field, a few deceased people.
Still, he says it could have been much worse. The tornadoes were deadliest here in Missouri, but they also claimed lives in other parts of the central and southern U.S., including Kansas, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Known as Tornado Alley in the U.S., it's the region with the most tornadoes in the world. And this is just the beginning of tornado season, which usually lasts from March through May. These communities are now left to recover, clear the damage, and start rebuilding. The bad weather is expected to push toward the U.S. East Coast later on Sunday, with millions still on edge waiting for more storms.
We can now speak to meteorologist Matthew Cappucci with MyRadar, who joins us now from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Matthew, I know you've been out chasing the storms. Can you explain to us why these storms were so deadly? Were people simply not warned well enough in advance to evacuate?
Well, the forecasts were pretty good, but the tricky thing is this time of year, you tend to see storms in the southern United States. And in the southern U.S., the storms have lower cloud bases, so you can't really see them coming. They sometimes happen at night. And they really, the terrain around here is rough. On the Great Plains, like Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, you can see for miles. Here, you can't because there are trees everywhere. And so I think a lot of people wait to see or hear these things coming. And in situations like this, you just can't do that. And that's part of the reason why so many people were killed from this outbreak. At least 66 tornadoes confirmed so far. And there are more tornadoes ongoing right now as the storms close in on the eastern U.S.
Can you explain to us whether this kind of extreme weather is common in this part of the U.S., or are we seeing something new?
It's actually pretty common. So March, April, May, everybody kind of holds their breath. It's tornado season, first over Mississippi and Alabama and the deep south. And eventually, towards May, as Gulf moisture propagates northwards, we see it expand more over the Great Plains, so Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Kansas. To get a tornado, you need 2 ingredients. You need a juiced-up atmosphere to get air to rise, and you need spin. That spin comes from changing wind speed and direction with height. In the case of yesterday, we had surface winds out of the south or southeast. But at the mid-levels, winds out of the southwest. So any storms that grew tall enough to feel those changing winds would rotate and subsequently produce significant tornadoes, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, you mentioned it yourself already. There are warnings from the U.S. Weather Service that more storms should reach the East Coast today. You say that it's a common occurrence at this time of year. So what can people do to protect themselves so we don't see so many lives lost?
Well, the good news, I think the tornadoes on the East Coast should be weaker today than those that occurred on Saturday over Mississippi, Alabama, and Friday across portions of the Mississippi Valley. That said, the biggest thing is having a way to be notified of warnings. Ultimately, even if we produce really good forecasts, and the forecasts for this were really solid, it doesn't matter if people don't get those warnings. So the onus is on the public to have a way to be notified to get those warnings. And secondly, more importantly, if you get a warning, knowing what to do. Tornadoes can easily wipe out a mobile home, even a low-end tornado. So mobile homes are not an okay shelter. Vehicles are not an okay shelter. You have to have a below-ground place. People need to make plans in advance before the warnings come out so they know what to do at a moment's notice.
That was meteorologist Matthew Cappucci speaking to us from Tuscaloosa, Alabama in the United States. Many thanks indeed.
Thank you.